Hi, it's Dave. Hi, you won't see me completely in the screen because my camera's a little too close. I want to show you what's important in this reloading information video. I'm not really what's important. A lot of people have questions about powder measures and just how accurate they are, and everyone thinks that the more you pay for it, the more accurate they are. To a certain extent that's true. I think that is true depending especially on what type of powder you're reloading. I use a lot of Varget. For Varget, this is the Elite Perfect powder measure. As you can see, possibly, no you don't, but I have two more in the back here and I have two more on the other table. I have 5. I set it for a load that I know that it shoots in the gun that I'm loading for. This one's set up for 44 grains of Varget, 168 grains Sierra Match King, and that's what shoots for me in the 308. I have one set up for 6BR and I have one set up for 223, and I have 2 others that will eventually be used for something else. I have a small kitchen funnel up here for those who want to know. Measures 4.5 inches across, is about 5 inches high, but I did snip a little bit off the spout. I felt it was going a little too low. I didn't want to go too low because I do want a certain amount of powder in the hopper. By using this method, I have a larger capacity of powder available before having to reload the hopper. And I have in here sufficient powder to keep a constant pressure on this part here. With all reloading, what's most important is consistency. Not to vary in your loading technique. To do things the same from in one procedure, do every step, always do it the same. Be very repetitive. That's how we eliminate variables. So I'm going to load these 50 cartridges here with 44 grains of Varget. I'm going to dump the first 2 because I've been handling things and I want to make sure that the first 2 are not any different than the rest. So I'm going to just show you how I go about this. So now what you're going to notice is I'm going to do everything the same for the next 50 cartridges. And that will give me a powder capacity that will be identical in every case. And there we go, 50 rounds. That's usually how I reload powder in my cases. For my other powder measure, I have a RCBS Uniflow. I use that as well. But for ball powder, these perfect powder measures from Lee do not measure ball powder very well because of the tolerances within the mechanism here, which work very well with any stick powder or any larger type of powder. There's never any grinding or binding. There's never any cut kernels. There's never a jump in your maneuver because it's very smooth. The way they explain it's like an elastomer in size that just sweeps over the drum inside here that is metering your powder. So it's always very, very smooth, always the same way. And I've gotten very good consistency with this. Great accuracy and good load to load velocity. The best chronograph load I've ever gotten with this technique in a 308, same situation. It was an extreme spread of 4 feet per second, standard deviation of 1.4, and that was for 5 shots. I intend on doing it again soon. I've recently acquired a new Tikka, the Tikka T3X CTR in 308. Something I should have done. I should have stayed with the Tikka. Had a little episode with Remington, and I was very quickly cured of that. So this is how I load powder in my cartridges. It works very well. I have the Uniflow for ball powder or extremely small, dimensionally small powders. In here they don't work well, vice versa. Varget or even IMR 4227, which is a stick powder but very small. I recently loaded some 300 blackout using the Uniflow. It meters well. It's accurate, no more accurate than this, just as accurate, but because it was a stick powder, every once in a while I would get a kernel that would arrive right on the edge between the metering drum and the housing, and I would get like a jump, and the whole thing jumps, and it's not consistent. If it did it the same every time, it would not be a variable, it would be a constant. With this, I'm getting constant with the Varget powder in this powder measure, or any other stick powder. The Uniflow, I'm going to stick with that for any very small ball powder. Recently, Hodgdon came out with CFE Black for my 300 blackout. We're going to try that, see how that works. And so far with the loading I've done, I've been very happy with the consistency of the powder measure. It gives me perfect loads every time. It's very, very good. So plastic funnel, your powder hopper, your setup. I don't take this apart. I remove the 2 screws I have it mounted with here and replace the next one that I'm using with, and look, it works great. It's worked for me for more than 20 years. I've been using this setup and it works fantastic. So enjoy. And I hope this was informative for any of you out there who have any questions. They're also inexpensive. The Uniflow cost me Canadian. It was $200 in tax. For that same price, I can probably buy 5 of these Uniflows. Perfect powder measures, I mean, from Lee. So, you know, if you're loading any really, really fine ball powder, pistol powders, things like that, yes, a Uniflow or a Redding or a Harrell, if you can afford it. They're beautiful. I would love to have one, but just out of my price range. So you have one of those for your pistol powders, and have several of these for all your stick powders, and one for each load. Once you find that load, you put a little sticker, as I did, 308 Winchester, 44 grains Varget. I know what it's going to give me. It's already been weighed and tested several loads to make sure I'm getting the same thing, and it's right on the spot. You just adjust the meter here. Once you lock it in with this ring here, knurled ring, and it's going to give you consistently 44 grains. Once in Precision Shooting magazine, there was a test that they did, and they went from the perfect powder measure from Lee, which at the time was like $25, up to the Harrell and everything in between, and they all were accurate to within 1/10 of a grain. So it's not because it's all made of plastic and it shakes that it's not good. it always shakes the same way. If you look in the video and watch, you see it moves, eh? It moves, but it moves the same way every time, as long as you are consistent in your movement, the energy, the way you go down stroke, back to your back upstroke. If you're consistent in the way you do things, it will be consistent. Another way of eliminating variables. Enjoy the video, and I'll have another one very soon on the new Tika that I picked up. They will not be replaced by anything else. So, speak to you soon. Enjoy the video. Bye.